The prison cell reeked of disinfectant and pride. Cold walls. Smooth metal. Sterile like a trophy case. They put him in the middle, chained upright, under a spotlight that never turned off. The old man blinked slowly, unbothered. They expected confusion, maybe tears. Instead, they got silence. 3 warriors circled him, scaled, hulking, and armored in ceremonial crimson. Their jaws clicked with amusement. "This is Earth's defender?" One sneered, claws tapping on the floor. "They age like fungus." Another leaned closer, inhaling deeply. "It smells like decay. Can it even speak?" The third warrior smirked and raised his translator device. "We are the Kordax, apex hunters. You are a relic, a joke." The old man smiled. Not wide, just enough to make them pause. "I've seen apex predators. You're not it." They laughed, sharp and guttural. One grabbed his shoulder, expecting resistance. There was none. Just the soft exhale of someone who had felt pain before and learned it couldn't define him. "You were captured easily," the leader said. "You surrendered. I let you take me." Mocking roars echoed. One slapped the wall, triggering a hologram. The galaxy glimmered. Stars marked with Kordax conquests. Earth, a recent addition, blinked red. We crushed your bunkers in minutes." "You didn't find them all," the old man replied, eyes closed. "Just the noisy ones." The smallest warrior stepped closer, clearly the youngest. "Why do you talk in riddles?" The old man opened his eyes, piercing, gray, clear. "Because I've earned the right." The young one frowned. "You're no soldier. You don't even carry a weapon."
"Correct," he said.
"But I am one." The eldest Kordax warrior grunted and turned away, pretending boredom. But his stride was a little too stiff now. The old man's calm wasn't feigned. It was unsettling. The Kordax were bred to conquer. Battle was celebration. Weakness was offense. They studied fear the way humans studied mathematics. But what stared back at them now felt familiar. Uncomfortably so. "We'll be back tomorrow," the leader snapped. "Maybe your tone will be different after interrogation." The door sealed behind them. Left alone, the old man scanned the room. Not with panic. With purpose. Every corner. Every blinking sensor. Every echo. He moved his fingers subtly, despite the restraints. Arthritis slowed him, but didn't stop him.
Patterns.
Rhythms. Mapping. He wasn't just waiting. He was measuring.
A faint chime.
A different door. A smaller one. A child? No, an adolescent. Barely a warrior. The young one who had questioned him earlier slipped through, nervous, eyes darting. "They'll punish me if they know I'm here," he whispered. "Then why are you here?" I want to understand. Why aren't you afraid?" The old man tilted his head. "What's your name?" "Kren." "Kren, you believe your people are the top of the food chain?" "We are."
"No."
"You're not. You're just the latest to think so." Kren's brow furrowed. "What does that mean?" The old man leaned forward slightly, chains clinking. "It means we've seen empires rise and fall. You're loud now. Arrogant. Predictable. We're strong. So were the Creel, the Zontari, the Aurex. All thought they were gods." His voice dropped lower. "We buried them quietly." Kren's fists clenched. "That's not what our history says."
"No."
"Because you write your own victories." "So did they." Kren stared, breath shallow. "What are you?" The old man met his gaze. "The reason history forgets monsters." The youth stepped back. "They'll kill you." "I've been killed before." "You mean?" "No," he interrupted softly. "I mean parts of me have died. Many times. Friends. Families. Cities. Yet I'm still here." Kren didn't answer. His hand hovered over the wall panel, unsure. "You're curious, Kren. That's dangerous among predators." "I'm not like them," he muttered. "Not yet. But you will be. Unless you learn to question." "Question what?" "Everything. Especially those who tell you never to." A long silence. Kren's fingers brushed the wall again, this time tapping in a rhythm. Morse code. Sloppy, but familiar. You learned this? The old man asked. I found records. From your broadcasts. The smile returned, small, knowing. Then you're already changing. Footsteps approached. Kren bolted, disappearing through the same door he came in. The old man exhaled again. A quiet moment. But inside, a storm gathered. He hadn't expected to find a mind like that here. One spark could be enough. It always started with one. When the guards returned the next morning, he said nothing. He let them jeer, posture, perform their dominance rituals. But his eyes scanned everything. How the locks blinked. How long it took between guard rotations. Where the youngest one stood, and who hesitated before stepping in. Patterns. Always patterns. 2 more days passed. The Kordax Council sent high-ranking observers to watch the interrogation of the Earth relic. They dressed it up for theater. And he played along. Just an old, stubborn animal they couldn't break. But one of the guards kept turning toward the door. And one kept watching Kren. And one, just one, looked at the old man the way soldiers looked at fallen flags. Recognition. They didn't understand what they were seeing. Not yet. But the memory of humanity didn't need a fleet. Just one apex. And he was awake. Kren didn't return the next day. The old man noticed immediately. The hesitation in the youngest guard's stride. The absence of that curious stare. They'd found out, or worse, he was being reconditioned. It didn't matter. The fuse had been lit. They brought in a new interrogator, this one larger, adorned with medals etched in bone. He called himself Commander Raxon, a brute in language and tactics. You've spoken enough. Now you listen, Raxon growled. The old man didn't respond. You'll tell us what your kind left behind. Satellites.
Codes.
Hidden assets. Still silence. Raxon slammed a clawed fist into the console. You think age makes you immune? The old man's voice finally came, quiet.
No.
It makes me dangerous. The blow came fast, across the face, sharp and practiced. The man's head tilted, but didn't recoil. Blood welled. He smiled. You're afraid, he said. Raxon froze. Of you.
No.
Of what I represent. You're not used to prey looking back. The commander's eyes narrowed. He signaled the guards. They increased the frequency of the neural restraint. Muscles seized, bones ached, but the old man endured it in silence. He didn't scream. That unnerved them more than any insult. When they left, he replayed every word. Raxon had slipped a mention of codes. That meant they hadn't broken Earth's final encryptions.
Good.
It meant someone out there still had access. That night, a food tray came with a folded cloth underneath. The corner twitched. He waited until the camera blinked out exactly 6 seconds and pulled it free.
Paper.
Real paper. Ink drawn in tiny, careful strokes. Your words are spreading. They're watching you now. Not just the guards. They're questioning.
Some fear you.
Some admire. I want to know more. K. The old man memorized the note, chewed it slowly, and swallowed. No trace. His smile returned, tighter this time. He didn't need freedom. He needed fear. The next day, he asked the guards a question. Do you know what extinction sounds like? They laughed, dismissive. Silence, he answered. Not from the victims. From the victors. Because when you end something completely, it changes you. Makes you quiet. The room shifted. One paused. One sneered. One blinked longer than usual. You're trying to mess with us. No, he said. I'm trying to warn you. That night, a junior guard entered alone. No weapon. Just questions. Why didn't your kind fight harder? The old man's voice was calm. We did. You only saw the battles we lost, not the ones we designed to lose. The guard frowned. What does that mean? Distraction. You saw a broken planet. We saw a reset. You're lying. The old man leaned forward. Then why am I here, and you're afraid to tell your superiors you spoke to me? The guard left in silence. The next shift brought disruption. Guards argued outside the cell. Orders clashed. One claimed new protocols. Another denied them. Internal discord.
Perfect.
The old man shifted his weight, triggering an old pain in his hip. Artificial joint. Titanium core. Not a weapon yet. 2 more days passed. Food arrived late. Monitoring gaps increased. Even the interrogations lost their rhythm. He spoke less, now that they hung on every word. He began to hum. Low. Almost primal. It made them uncomfortable. They asked what it was. He never answered. In private moments, he spoke in fragments.
Names. Coordinates.
Events. Just enough to imply knowledge. Never enough to be useful. The implication of secrets hurt more than exposure. Soon, more notes arrived. Smuggled. Hidden in threads. Behind access panels. They say you broke 3 guards without touching them. They argue over who gets to interrogate you. They're watching each other now. The commanders don't trust their own. He whispered to a new guard, "Your leaders fear a myth. Be careful they don't turn you into one." The guard reported it. 2 hours later, the command deck locked down. Internal investigations began. Paranoia bloomed. The old man remained still. That evening, Kren returned. Different now. Eyes sharper. Shoulders squared. "You've infected us," he said.
No.
"I reminded you." "Of what?" "That you're not at the top. You never were." Kren stared. "They're collapsing from the inside. That's how we always win. You didn't fight. You didn't kill. You just talked. And it worked." Kren stepped closer. "I want to help." "You already have. A beat passed. What happens next?" "You tell me." "I'm the past. You're the pivot." Kren hesitated, then slipped a small device from his robe and placed it by the wall. A signal burst, short, encrypted, ancient human code. "Awake." The old man didn't react outwardly, but inside, every memory sharpened. His job was done. Now they would come. Not with armies. With precision. He whispered to himself, barely audible. "They think the storm comes from above. But it was born here. Quiet. Patient." For the first time in days, he rested his head back. Not asleep. Not weak. Ready. Because the predators had mocked the wrong prey. And the apex had whispered. The first satellite blinked online within hours. Dormant for over a decade, it sent one pulse, a single encrypted burst. Across 5 systems, ancient relays awoke, each one configured not to destroy, but to listen. Hidden Earth operatives embedded in civilian colonies received the message and activated the contingency protocol. Apex Memory Phase 2. The Kordax Council didn't notice. They were too busy tearing themselves apart. Accusations flew. Spies, traitors, corrupted guards. A high-ranking general vanished. Another was publicly executed, accused of conspiring with the relic. But no one could prove anything. That made it worse. Raxon returned to the cell, voice quieter now, almost cautious. "What did you do?" The old man looked up slowly. "I reminded you that legends exist for a reason. You're bluffing. There's no fleet. Earth is gone. We never needed a fleet. Just a message. We blocked your channels. Not the ones inside your heads." Raxon slammed his fist into the wall, but the force behind it was doubt, not confidence. He turned and left without another word. The guards stopped speaking to each other during shifts. Some refused to enter the cell. Others kept their eyes low. The old man said little. He didn't need to anymore. The silence around him said everything. The next morning, 2 guards were found dead in their quarters. No wounds. No signs of struggle. Just empty expressions. Fear distilled. A virus with no cure. Whispers spread through the lower ranks. The old man had cursed them. His voice carried a code, an ancient echo that infected minds. It wasn't true, but they believed it. A civilian broadcast station was hijacked 2 sectors away. A video played, grainy footage of Earth's final stand. Images never seen by the Kordax. A lone human soldier dragging his wounded body to detonate a fusion core, killing an entire invasion fleet. A whisper followed. "You're predators, but we're Apex." The Kordak's high warlord demanded answers. He received silence. His top advisors no longer trusted comms. They reverted to in-person meetings, which only bred more paranoia. Meanwhile, Kren returned again, this time cloaked in command-grade armor. He entered without permission. "They're collapsing," he said. "You see it now. They say I'm compromised. I might be executed. Then you're on the right path." Kren exhaled sharply. "Why me?" "Because you listened when no one else did." "I don't know what to do next." "Yes, you do." Kren placed a second device on the floor. This one wasn't a transmitter. It was a detonator. A clean, silent weapon. Non-lethal, but designed to disable all surveillance within a 5-level radius. The old man nodded. "Then it's time." Kren activated it. Lights flickered. The room went dead. Cameras cut. For the first time, the old man stood, free of restraint. Kren had released the locks. "You can barely walk." "I don't need to." "Then why escape?" "I'm not escaping. I'm making history." They moved quickly. Not to run. To be seen. Let them witness the symbol of their fear walking free inside their fortress. They reached the core chamber. It controlled internal communication, propaganda feeds, automated lockdowns. The old man connected the final signal line from Kren's transmitter into the terminal. He inputted the code from memory. Not a weapon. A truth. The video played galaxy-wide. Every Kordak's outpost. Every colony. Every command center. A message in the old man's voice. "You were taught we were prey. That age means decay. That humanity was soft. You saw our ruins and assumed you had won. But predators fear what they do not understand. And you never understood us." A montage followed. Human resistance. Human sacrifice. Human patience. And finally, footage of Kordak's elites arguing, killing, crumbling under their own illusions. The last words echoed, louder than the rest. "You're predators, but we're apex." The reaction was instant. Riots on outer colonies. Soldiers refused orders. Some surrendered. Some switched sides. The Kordak's image shattered in a single broadcast. Back in the chamber, alarms blared.
"They're coming," Kren said.
They were always coming. This was never about escape. It was about the seed. "What seed?" "You." The old man turned. "No panic. Just purpose. You're the next chapter. Don't become what they were. Be better." Kren nodded, then left as instructed, through the maintenance shaft. The door to the control room opened moments later. Raxon entered with 10 soldiers. They found the old man standing alone, hands by his side. "You did this," Raxon growled.
"No. You did."
"I just let you see it." Raxon raised his weapon. "You're finished." The old man smiled. "I was finished when you brought me here. Everything since then has been victory." A single shot fired.
Quiet.
Final. The old man fell. But the message didn't. Across the galaxy, the words lived. In rebellion. In memory. In the shift of a species that once thought itself invincible. And in the eyes of one young warrior now carrying the truth forward. The body was burned without ceremony. No honors, no name etched, no mention in the Kordak's archive. They thought silence would erase the old man. But his words echoed longer than any monument. Kren vanished within hours. Official reports claimed he was executed. Unofficial whispers said otherwise. Someone had erased his file from every terminal, every backup, every soldier's log. That only happened when someone was protected or feared. Within days, multiple outer colonies declared independence. No battles. Just declarations backed by unanimous planetary votes. The Kordak's high command sent fleets. None returned. Not destroyed, absorbed. Entire crews defected, inspired by the broadcast they still couldn't trace to its source. Commanders interrogated each other, then their subordinates. Paranoia infected strategy. Meetings turned into standoffs. Orders became suggestions. Loyalty dissolved. The collapse wasn't loud. It was efficient.
Precise. Cold.
In one sector, a statue was erected. Not of the old man, just the phrase, "You're predators, but we're apex." It wasn't graffiti. It was engraved into the base of their former war shrine. Across neutral space, human sympathizers found old resistance networks reactivating. Not with guns, but messages. Recordings. Stories of endurance, quiet victories, and the final mission of a man who turned fear into firepower. Kren resurfaced years later under a new identity. A diplomat unaffiliated, advising systems once ruled by the Kordax. His speeches were short, his presence quiet, but when he walked into a room, people listened. He never repeated what he saw. He didn't need to. One night, a child asked him if the story was true. Did the old man really defeat an empire? He looked at the stars, silent for a while. He didn't defeat them, Kren said. He made them defeat themselves. Was he the strongest?
No.
He was the most dangerous kind of human. The one who waits, who watches, who teaches. Is he gone? No, Kren whispered. He's everywhere now. The words were passed down system to system. Not forced. Remembered. Not shouted.
Echoed.
Predator species that once ruled through terror now watched for symbols, graffiti in back alleys, encrypted transmissions repeating the phrase, recruitment posters with just a silhouette and a line of dialogue. Entire planets that once belonged to the Kordax refused trade deals, citing cultural shifts. When questioned, their leaders replied simply, "We no longer kneel to those who forget their place in nature." The Kordax remnants hid behind alliances, legal sanctions, diplomatic facades. But everyone knew. They weren't feared anymore. They were studied. Humans didn't rise again with fleets. They rose in whispers, stories, children naming pets after a forgotten man in a cell who didn't raise his voice, but changed a species. The old archetype of the brute gave way to something worse, a patient adversary. On Earth, what remained of the old intelligence networks reconstructed the full broadcast. They restored the footage, archived every phrase, every pause, every inflection. It became part of the core education for strategy officers. At the top of every syllabus was the rule. If they mock your weakness, they've forgotten your kind. Time passed. New powers rose. New threats emerged. But every time someone underestimated the resilience of humanity, they were reminded. In war rooms and council halls, the phrase hung unspoken but alive. The reminder that humanity didn't win by domination. It won by making predators doubt themselves. The galaxy moved on. But they never mocked an old human again.